Hello everyone. Today we're going to be discussing using Read and Write for iOS. Specifically in this demonstration you're going to see an iPad, but this will also work for iPhones and possibly Mac devices. There is a different version, or actually two different versions you can use on the Mac OS. That is the installable version that will install directly to the operating system as its own standalone application, or you can use the Chrome extension, just the same way that you're used to using on Chromebooks, Windows PCs, anything like that that uses the Chrome browser. You can install that extension, as well as pretty much any extension-based browser. Now, Read and Write for iOS works differently than you're probably used to seeing on other devices, whether that be a teaching device or really any other device that's not iOS. That's because of the nature of the operating system of iOS. It's going to run typically as an app, so it's kind of going to be its own standalone sort of product, but that doesn't make it any less powerful. Now you do have most of the features available in Read and Write on the iPad or iOS as you do in the toolbar, but it does look differently and it operates differently. For instance, once you get the app installed, you will have to launch the app and sign in at least one time. Your tech department will have to install that app or deploy that out to you or to your iPads, depending on how they manage those. And there is a toolbar, but it's only available in Safari. We'll be able to go over that in just a moment. But first, once you install the Read and Write app, that's step one. Another process to being able to use it is to use the keyboard setting. And what I mean by that is if you go into your settings menu and you scroll down to keyboards, let's see, keyboard. We'll go over to keyboards. Once we have the iOS app installed, we get another keyboard that we can add. Typically you would have to choose add new keyboard and Read and Write shows up. So we give it full access. And really all that means is that once we're in Read and Write and we're trying to modify some text, so let's bring our keyboard up here, you're going to see this kind of keyboard. This provides you simple shortcuts such as copy or cut, copy, and paste. You also have your text-to-speech options. You can also use text-to-speech using the play button. The three dots is kind of your more menu. So you can have that hover speech, that dictionary tool. So now if I were to select that, oops, go back here. Each time on iOS, you are going to have to hit the button again to choose from the word. So unlike the desktop operating systems, when I selected a word, it didn't automatically change in the dictionary. It didn't update that word. So I'm having to go back and click on dictionary again. But it is giving me the dictionary. It's giving me the picture dictionary here. I can even click the touch to speech options.
Noun,
and
a curved object used to hang things on.
It's going to read all of that and as well as highlight it for text to speech. Now, I can use my check it utility. It's going to spell check this for me and underline just like it typically does in other word processors. I can even update which language I want this in. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, this is what Read and Write looks like when you launch it. Now, yours is going to be blank. You won't have any documents in here. These are actually documents that I just created for demonstration purposes. You can organize your documents using the red tags or the color tags, I should say. So I can select this document and tag it yellow. That way, if I have a specific color associated with a classroom, I can keep those organized by much more easily. Now I can just search for yellow documents, etc. Now let's go back up to recent. So let's say that you want to have some text-to-speech read aloud. There's a few different ways you can do that. If you have paper documents, because one of the things that we have most requested is the screenshot reader. You actually can use a screenshot reader. It's just, again, different than it would be on a PC. So all we have to do to use a screenshot reader is we're going to click the plus sign up at the top. If you didn't see that, I'm going to circle it here. You should be able to see it with the plus sign next to the download cloud. Click plus. It opens it up. Now we have this blank document. We can either click in here and start typing, or touch in the space and start typing. Ooh, a little delay here. Typing. And we can have that played back to us. We can have that read aloud. We can change our font. Now, notice here, it's giving us some recommendations as well as picture symbols for some of the words that we could be putting in. So this is kind of that text prediction. Now, I don't want to do any of that. I want to focus on this camera. The camera button is our screenshot or using the onboard camera of this device. So if I wanted to pull in some text and use OCR, I can insert something from the camera. So I can actually take a picture and insert a picture. I can insert a picture from the iPad itself if I already have something saved. But let's say that I want to take some text out of something. That's where the scan comes in. So I'm just going to choose scan from camera. And it's set to automatic. So once it detects the image, it's going to automatically snap it. And I'm just going to click save. I could retake that if I need to. I'm not going to. Now what you're seeing here is it pulled all of the text off this document. But it also doesn't necessarily look like the picture. So if there is something, maybe this picture is very important to what I'm learning about, I need to keep that formatting for that reason. I'm going to click on Insert from Camera. I'm going to take another picture because I'm not having it save these pictures right now at least. So it's saved the picture. So now I have the picture inside. I can make it a little larger if I need to. Make it a little larger. So I have this picture to go along with the text that I pulled out of it. That way if I just need a reference. But I can see it did pull all the text. So this is diagram B from the larger green text. Use part. This is just a part of a manual. But we can click the play button to have this.
B use part B3 precise leveling 1 after automatic I
have my speech turned up really high. We do have all of our formatting options, so we can make text larger, space out the characters more, just very much like we're used to in Simplify. That's kind of how this is working. It's pulling that text off of there. It didn't pull the image because we're wanting to strip the text only and have that. Now there's a few other things we can do here. We can save this as an audio file, very much like the voice comments tool. So we can save this as an audio file. Everything that's the text that's on here, it's going to save that out as if we were reading it to you. You can go ahead and save it into your Google Drive if you have that. We can also share this. We can export this as a text file, RTF file, or if you are a district that uses Microsoft Word or Office 365, export it as a Word document. Or maybe you're just saving this in your Read and Write file on your iPad. You just go back a screen, and here's your new document. There it is. Now, of course, I'm going to want to rename this. I could rename this as tutorial. That's really all there is to it. So it is different in terms of the screenshot reader. You're not just on a website and you're selecting an image to pull text off of. But let's say that you do have that image. Let's go ahead and get rid of all this. Get rid of my keyboard here. On it. In the Safari browser, simply click the share button up at the top. And once you have Read and Write installed, you'll see Read and Write here. So under kind of your quick tools. So you click Read and Write, and now this toolbar pops up. Very much like it is on iOS and other operating systems, I'm sorry, Chrome OS and other operating systems. You can drag this arrow around here, so you can move the toolbar where you need it, but now you can use your other tools. Hover speech, text to speech, pause, stop. This is your translate feature. I'm sorry, not the translate feature. You have your dictionary, picture dictionary, and settings. You can change the settings just like you do on the other one, but there are fewer settings to change. You typically just have that voice speed, the color of the text highlight. So depending on the website you're on, you may need something different.
Translations. Powered by speech.
I have hover speech turned on. There we go. Turn that off. Now, our translate button, the icon looks differently than it does on the other operating systems toolbar. This kind of looks like a shuffle button if you're used to like YouTube Music or Apple Music, but this is the translate feature, those crossing arrows. So if I were to select a word, let me go ahead and find a website with some speech real quick. Here we go. I'm going to open my toolbar. Again, I'm going to click that share button. I'm going to scroll down to Read and Write. And I'm just going to select
It can also refer.
Turn off our hover speech. And click Translate. Now, unlike, again, other desktops, if you select a word, you're going to have to click the Translate button again. It's not going to auto-update every time you select a new word. So if you do select another word, click that Translate button, and it's going to translate it for you. And just like the other toolbars, you can click that play button.
Communication. Comunicación.
So that way you can hear it in those other languages. And so this is really just the toolbar. Now, it will have multiple pop-ups as well. So I can have, here we go. I'm going to select the word communication. But again, I have to select the picture dictionary again. It's not going to auto-update. But these are floating windows. We can move those around at will. Now, if you do have any questions, if you need to see something specific or to have me go into more detail about kind of what I've already shown in this video, please let me know. This is just kind of the rough overview of getting you started using Read and Write for iOS. So it's not as easy as just deploying an extension, but it is beneficial for all of your students. And if all of your students have iPads instead of Chromebooks or other Chrome devices, then this is how they'll access that. Now, if they're needing to use Equatio, I highly recommend you can either do this through Clever or just have your students bookmark it, but they can just go to equatio.texthelp.com. And so without having another app or any other kind of extensions, things like that, now they can use Equatio just like they would in other classes. They just fire up Equatio. Now they have access to all of its features.